I'm happy for you to have your phones out if they're on silent, because obviously we want this all over social media. So don't be shy on taking photos, videos, and sharing it with your friends and colleagues, because they've missed out tonight. So my name's James Ski. I'm the CEO and founder of Sales Confidence. This is Will Rees. Will is a senior partner at Corinthian Wealth Management, a part of St James's Place. And we're going to give you a little bit of an introduction on how we've decided to build this particular series of events and why we believe this is important. And in terms of the format, we've got 4 incredible speakers, including Will. Each of them gets 7 minutes, and they will deliver their talk. And then at the end, we will set up a panel discussion where you can ask questions and get your questions answered. And then we'll have more drinks. Just as an FYI, this wraps up at 9 p.m, but I haven't had dinner, so I'm going to Burger and Lobster. So if anyone wants to come, it's on me after 9. Okay, so let's just give you a bit of insight into why this is so important. Now, Sales Confidence, our vision is essentially to build the world's most valuable B2B sales community, and we care about helping salespeople and sales leaders at each stage of their career with their mindset, well-being, and performance. Naturally, if we can help salespeople and sales leaders become more successful, the great thing is you make more money. And let's not be shy about it. That's money, talking about money, I think particularly in the UK, is quite an uncomfortable topic. But tonight, if I'm honest, I know this is recorded, but this is all about the money tonight. This is it, okay? And clearly, each of you decided to put yourself in the room because there is some deep inherent motivation in you that wants to be even more successful than you are right now. And that is what we want to assist you with. We want to take you to the next level. Whatever that next level is for you, promotion, earnings, investments, that's what we're here to do. So hopefully you're going to get some golden nuggets out of tonight, and hopefully you'll make some great connections. So Will, how did we get connected, and then how did we go on this journey that we're on right now?
So James and I were introduced by an existing client of mine who's a good friend of yours,
he is,
right?
yes.
Yeah, so a gent called Ben Drew, and the initial introduction was to do your personal planning. But there's a bigger conversation, right? I was very familiar with Sales Confidence, and for those of you who don't know, I've chosen to specialize in SaaS sales leaders and ICs. So James and I were talking about the bigger issue, and I think the fitting way to describe this is the recent poll you did. So you may have seen James did a recent poll saying, is there any access to advice, guidance, education for your employer? And less than 20% of respondents said yes. So that just captures the lack of support for people in this industry who, let's face it, have the opportunity to earn life-changing money. They don't know what to do with it. It's a personal responsibility. So I was talking to James about not only his own stuff, but the bigger picture and how Corinthian could support sales confidence. But we're all at different stages in our career. We're all at different times, different ages, different goals, ambitions. That's the beauty of it, right? It's very personal. It's personal financial planning. So the money matters pyramid, growth, whatever we're going to call it, 100K, the 150K, the 200K, the 250K club, what we're going to be able to do is show you with sales leaders like Jamie, Jane and others how to get there. So for people that are leading in the space, and then for myself, the likes of Kane as well, can show you what your options are when you do have that incredible success. What do you do if you earn 200, 300, 400? I'll tell you about 200 later. That's my presentation. If we can empower you to become better in your careers and make better decisions when you are successful, you live better lives. And that is what we all want, I think is a fair summation.
That was a great opening. Well done, Will. Good practice. So this really is, it's genuinely about how we can impact your pocket, how we can take you to that next level. Those of you that are building leading teams as well, really, how can you take what you learn here and inspire them? Because trust me, as a leader, if you can inspire and help your team of individuals earn more, learn more, they're going to stay with you, they're going to follow you, and they're going to build your reputation. So, we've got a mixture of speakers where it's those that are going to teach you how to be a high performer and maximize your earnings, and then what do you do with that money? How do you invest? How do you get a return? How do you maximize the upside? Just for a little bit of a kind of a poll in the room, just so we've got an idea who's in the room, can you just put your hand up if you are an individual contributor? Okay? So an AE or an individual or an SDR. Okay. Can you put your hand up if you're a leader, you manage people, you manage a team? Okay, cool. So it's about a 50-50 split in the room. Fantastic. Now put your hand up, and this is just where you are right now, if you earn less than 100K a year. All right. Put your hand up if you earn over 100K. All right. Over 150? Okay. 200? All right. Okay, so, right, everyone gets a bit shocked. This is the weird thing, the more money, the guys are like, no, I don't want anyone to know that I earned that. Guys, did you get a photo of that? Okay, so look, ultimately, wherever you are right now is where you are right now. The opportunities for you are boundless. And I think one of the takeaways here, setting out for 2024, is that you can actually achieve so much more exponentially than you believe you can. And that's what we want to be able to help you with, the art of the possible. And that's why the Sales Confidence membership exists, because we're going to take you on that journey to get there. And this is just kind of part of that. Also, how many Sales Confidence members have we got in the room? Just raise a hand. Fantastic. Okay. 4 or 5, 6, 7. Okay, so obviously talk to, if you're interested in the membership, and we'll give you more information, you can talk to our existing members as well. But let's get this show on the road, and let's kick our first speaker. So just an introduction on our main man, Will. So I think what's interesting about Will is that he's decided very early in his career, building this wealth management firm, to focus on purely SaaS sales. And in fact, I did a lot of research before I decided to work with Will. There isn't anybody else in the UK dedicated just to SaaS sales leaders and salespeople. So it's a huge, huge opportunity. And at this point, he's worked with hundreds of salespeople and sales leaders on working on their plans for wealth management into their future, planning for savings, pensions, and investments. So can we have a big round of applause for Will Rees? He's our first speaker.
The importance of having access to people that can help you get to that next earnings level, whether it's the 150, 200, that's the secondary point tonight. What we're going to show you is the support structures in place to help you whatever stage you're at. Thank you. So, as James said, I'm going to be talking a bit about a case study. It's anonymized, of course, but it's a very, very common one. And I'm hoping the objective of my session is for you to be better aware of what your opportunities are at a given earnings level. So this is the case study. Okay. Let's take a sales leader. It could be IC as well. Typical comp plan. You've got a basic salary of 100, OT of another 100, total earnings of 200. The first point I'm going to focus on, after tax, you're taking home approximately 116K. How are we feeling? Laughs tell it. Oh, okay, good. I think a point here to say is that I'm not against tax, right? I agree with taxation, but my entire business is on being efficient and paying as little as possible. So what I'm going to show you today is how you can make some better decisions to potentially reduce that number. Because if you pay less, you keep more. And that's what we're trying to achieve. Let's assume you've got total expenses of 6K per month or 72 grand a year. It's a case study. I've just got to chuck some numbers out there. What we're going to try and show you is what you could do, right? It doesn't matter if you earn 200. This is what you could do with savings. So hopefully relevant. These are sort of 3 common areas that we talk about. Now, the top one, everybody in here has thought about it at this point in time. Interest rates are better. Let's just put it in cash and get 5%, guaranteed, no risk. Well, inflation's a risk, and I'm sure you'd agree that inflation in the last 2 years has been higher than 5%. So there's an inflation rate risk. Pay down the mortgage. I totally get it. Nobody likes a big mortgage. Rates are 5%. Products coming for a renewal. Got to get rid of it. I get it. The last thing that people want to do is pay more into a pension at this point in time. Interest rates are higher. Mortgage is more expensive. I can get better in cash. Trust me, I have this conversation 25 times a week, as you can probably tell. But don't let this be a blocker. Because yes, retirement is far away for many of you. But trust me, it comes up thick and fast. Clients tell us all the time they wish they did more sooner. So how does it work? For this year, if you earn, let's just use some really simple numbers, 260 and below, you have a 60K pension allowance. Now please, I'm caveating a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of technicals with what we do. There's a little bit more to it than that. But for the basis of this example, it's 60K. You've paid 10K into your company pension scheme, you've got 50K remaining, you've got 44 in saving. Let's just take less than half, right? Because we don't want to commit all our money longer term. Let's put 20 in. This is how it works. And I'm very happy to send these slides as a follow-up as well. If you pay into a personal pension, company pension as an example, you immediately reclaim basic rate tax relief. That's just a pension rule. Don't overthink it. Often people go, oh, why is that? It's just a rule, right? Let's not go down that rabbit hole. So you immediately save 5,000. That's 5,000 pounds in tax that you've paid this year. So instantly you're 5 grand better off. It's a good start. You're a 45% taxpayer in this example. 200 is over the 125K threshold. For those of you that are there, you'll know about it when you look at your pay stumps. When you do your self-assessment, please don't forget this point. You're owed an additional 25%. There's some horrifying statistics that are out there about people that forget to claim additional tax relief. They're probably not salespeople, let's be honest, but you are owed an additional 25%. So in high-level figures, you've committed 20K to your pension. You've reclaimed 5 automatically. You can claim another 6,250. It's 11,250 guaranteed within these rules before any investment growth. So instead of losing 84K in tax, you've lost 11,250 less. Can't do the maths in my head, but you get it. Why does this exist? You know, if you tell a salesperson, some of them are in the room, did you know if you pay a bit more into your pension, you save 45% tax? Most people go, I don't believe you. It's a fun little game. The problem is that it's become overly complicated. People just don't want to look at it. You join a company, let's think of a life as IC or leader. You join a company, instantly you want to hit the ground running. If you're a leader, you want to add value to your team. You want to understand the territories. You want to understand the targets. How was last year? If you're an IC, you want to get stuck into your PG, hopefully. But let's say in the unlikely event you did look at your pension, it's ridiculously complicated because of years of regulation. You go, nah, don't want to do it. Fair enough. The typical comp plan of a salesperson, anybody in the room know what their pension contribution is? You'd be in the small percentage that do, is often a small percentage of your basic. So James and I have talked about helping you get to that next level. If you're an IC on 100K basic and you earn 500, your pension contributions are likely on that 100K percentage. So it doesn't matter what you take home, you're not saving anymore. So it's a personal responsibility, right? And the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can make better decisions. Again, as I say, you're not going to earn 200, 300, 400 grand a year for the rest of your life and only save 10 grand a year to retirement. You're never retiring. Lack of savings, the impact, we're all in sales, the cost of inaction. Why should you do anything? If you do not commit more to your future, you will have to work longer or retire with less income. Now, I don't know a salesperson or a sales leader alive that's quite happy to do this job into their 70s. Again, the response tells us everything, right? Most people come to us and they say, I need a get out of sales plan. I don't want a retirement plan, I want a get out. You laugh. Why have you chosen to do it? You've done it for the rewards. But often we find that people that don't focus on the planning have the financial rewards, but short term. Less pension equals more tax. It gets better. Of course it does. Pension allowances can go back 3 years. So let's talk about how this can work in practice. This is getting a little bit more technical, but I think it's relevant. As a salesperson, you are never going to have consistently good years. Within reason, you get the idea, the fluctuation, the irregularity of your income. That can work to your advantage. So basic example, you've earned 150, 170, 200, 200 in the last 4 tax years. It's a pretty sensible growth plan, I'm sure you'd agree. But that 200 could have been 500. We all have those years. You've built your accounts, you've done your planning, eventually the big deals happen. You can go back 3 tax years and use your unused pension allowance. Now, I've done this for a few clients, and again, they still don't believe me, but you're getting a 30 grand tax rebate, a 26 grand tax rebate. How many people have done a self-assessment and had a 3, 4, 5 grand tax bill and gone, more? Like, really? By paying into a pension, not only can you offset that, but you can get tax back as well. Again, it's a little bit more technical, but I'm happy to go through that for anyone that's interested. I think it's always important when you do any presentation, particularly with what we do, because it goes very technical very quickly, to have some reflections, think about your own situation. Pension is a no-brainer for retirement, but is there something else you're saving for that has to be considered? Because pension is an absolute commitment to retirement by the nature of the product. What's your plan? When do you want to retire? If it's prior to 58, consider when are you going to get your income? Because you can't access your pension before 58. Again, for different people, different ages, but generally 58. And are you on track for your retirement objectives? Most people, when I ask them that, go, I don't know what my retirement objectives are. Probably not a good place to start. Let's have the conversation. And just to wrap up, a nice little summary that most leaders tell us they did wish they'd met someone like myself. It doesn't have to be me, clearly. I'd like to think it would be, but most people do tell us they wish they did more earlier. And hopefully with what James and I are building, we give you a platform to, if you choose, have this sort of advice earlier in your career and make better decisions. That's me. Thank you for listening. Jane, please come and join us. I'm introducing you. Once I get it. Is this working? Yes. Up next, thank you for listening again. Up next we have Jane. Jane is an enterprise account executive at Salesforce, and you will be talking to us about top tips for building a sustainable sales career. Good. Longevity, money management, and finance. Jane has pretty much always been in software sales, beginning with an internship at Hewlett-Packard. She then joined IBM, where she was promoted twice to customer engagement specialist before joining Salesforce, where she has been for more than 7 years. At Salesforce, she has excelled as an AE in consumer business, transport, and now travel and hospitality. Jane is also a 2-time Women in Sales Awards finalist and mental health first aider. Jane, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. If you could just follow me around and introduce me every time I ever need to speak. So, starting off with a question. Please can you raise your hand if when you were little, you said, I want to be a salesperson when I grow up? No? I thought so. Most of us kind of fall into sales because we maybe think that sales isn't a credible career. We think of a salesperson as a man in an ill-fitting suit trying to flog us something that we don't want, which I find very interesting given the fact that 65% of the current Fortune 500 CEOs did a sales job. So there's a direct link between sales and the C-suite. So, as mentioned, my name's Jane Pickering. I'm going to be doing 7 tips in 7 minutes on how to build a sustainable sales career. So, number 1, core values. Do you know what your core values are? Mine are growth, integrity, and passion. We spend so much of our time at work. It needs to be something that you believe in and that you're passionate about, especially if you're trying to sell it. I've said no to companies and accounts because they haven't aligned with my core values. Short term, I probably could have made some good money, but in the long term, it just wouldn't have been sustainable. 2, acting with integrity. You need to value those long-term relationships over that quick deal. You need to be able to act on behalf of your customer and also your company and find a win-win situation for both. And you need to act with integrity, especially when the pressure is on. 3, network. Obviously doing all of that quite well at the moment. But building your network inside your company, externally, and inside your customer. Maintaining and growing this network authentically is really key, and also making sure that you're building it and maintaining it when you don't need something. If you just keep reaching out to your network every time you need something, it's a pretty one-sided and pretty transparent relationship. 4, brilliant basics. So much of our job is completely out of our control, but what you can control is the way that you show up, your attitude, your mindset, and the way that you conduct your business. So be easy to do business with, not only inside your own company, but also externally as well. Also, use technology and AI to help you do those basics really well. Hopefully other CRMs are available, but make sure that you keep that up to date, you are kind to people, you say thank you, you put agendas in your meetings. Personal bugbear of mine. I actually decline all meetings that don't have agendas. And keep receipts of your work. What I mean by that is keep a running log of all the amazing things that you're doing. When you go for promotion or ask for more money, you can back it up with fact, and really no one can argue with that. 5, be curious and constantly seek out feedback and learning opportunities. If you're not asking how, what, when, why, and being curious about what you're doing, then you probably need to be doing something else. And always ask for feedback. yes, maybe we all have egos in sales, right? But you're never going to get better unless you get that information. I'm also a big believer in you don't ask, you don't get. I've been called cheeky so many times in my career, but ultimately, the worst they can say is no, but they might say yes. So be ambitious and don't be afraid of being ambitious, and tell people about your ambition. As and when opportunities come up, then people will think of you for those. That being said, you can't have a sustainable sales career without point 6, which is taking time out and setting boundaries. No one on their deathbed had ever said, I wish I took less holiday, or I wish I answered more emails whilst on holiday with my family. So please take time out, and if you kind of check back in with work, it's just showing the people that are covering you that you don't trust them, and also respect other people being on holiday as well. Boundaries are really important. I set boundaries with my internally and with my customers. We have technology like delay send on Slack or email. So if you want to be working at 10 p.m. at night, that's completely fine. But get that email sent at 9 a.m. because otherwise it's kind of probably quite stressful, the person that's going to get it. Also, I don't want to set the expectation that we're available 24/7 to our customers. And then the final point, point number 7, to kind of follow on from what Will said, be smart with your money. An absolute non-negotiable is live off your base salary. Money and commission comes and goes, and if you rely on your commission for anything you can't live without, you might come a bit unstuck when you maybe don't have the best year, when the market's not in your favor. And with regards to commission, I always say, spend a little, save a little, and share a little. One of the biggest joys of this job is being able to kind of share that with loved ones, share those experiences, treat someone, and do something like that. I also wholeheartedly agree with Will. Like, do you know when you want to retire? Do you know how much money you're going to need? It's actually a lot to retire, to live the lifestyle that you've become accustomed to. And then ultimately, how much do you need to save each year, and therefore how much you need to earn each year. In sales, we love targets, we love goals, but do you set yourself a target of how much you need to earn to be able to live the lifestyle that you really want? So that's my 7 tips in 7 minutes. I would love to hear yours a bit later on today, but my kind of ask to you is keep networking. We're all on the same page and all at different points in our journey. There's enough opportunity for everyone. So yeah, looking forward to meeting you all later. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you. Fantastic. I think just a big takeaway there. It's not just a selfish pursuit of earnings. As Jane highlighted, it's what you can do with that, who you can help, who you can give back to. For me, it's very much about impact as well as making the money. All right, our third speaker up next is Jamie Riddle, who is a senior sales leader at, how do I pronounce it? Cilium. His talk is going to be focused on sales growth, the power of relationships. He talks about his experience of being a senior sales leader and delivering world-class IT solutions across various sectors. He's got over a decade of experience in IT sales. Originally, he came out of uni with an MSc in sports psychology, so he combines his knowledge and skills of sport, building high-performance teams with transforming businesses and executing exciting growth in the businesses that he works in. He's constantly involved in team sport, which has allowed him to develop his executive and leadership skills. Can we have a big round of applause, please, for Jamie?
I'll put this here. That's all right. I want to use this. Well, this is probably going to fall over, and then we'll be in a situation. But no, thanks. Look, the industry that we're in today, right? We're in a massive era of like digital transformation, artificial intelligence, security everywhere you'll hear, right? And it's organisations and companies, they're trying to seek, advantages through technology, right, to beat their competition. However, through that sort of mist of, algorithms, code, tools, solutions, at the core of every business decision is a human being. right? And it's understanding that human being. And that's really where, for me, the power of relationships start for how you can maximise your earnings. Now, there's two quotes that I love, right? I absolutely love these today. These mean a lot for me for relationships, right? They might relate to you differently. But they've allowed me to be motivated every day, motivate my team, and we use them a lot, and it's helped me grow my business unit from 0 to 25 million in 6 years, right? The first one, if you're not taking care of your customers, your competitors will. And the second one, if you're not at a table, you're on the menu. You know, it's I love food, right? So that's why it means a lot to me. But they're so powerful to me with relationships, those. And they might mean different things to you, but they're the quotes that I really relate to. And I think that's important to have quotes that relate to yourself as well. Now, I tell my team, and you know, what I've lived by is in sales, you don't close a sale, you open a relationship. And it's that relationship that can open so much for you, yeah? It can do so many more deals. You can maximise your earnings by having that relationship. It will allow you to get referrals. You know, it will allow you to have long-term success in that customer, but also with that relationship. You know, when you leave that customer, and that relationship's likely going to follow you. When your customer or your relationship leaves, they're likely going to bring you on that journey with you, right? And most importantly, it minimises that competition by allowing you to be at the table. Now, for instance, through COVID, right, my business unit, we focused on the 18 months before COVID. We didn't know it was coming, right, but we knew that if we focus on relationships, they're going to help us. Through COVID in that year, our business unit number tripled. You know, and that was because right at the start, we focused on the relationships, we were present, and we made sure that our customers knew that we were going to be there for them. We made sure that we were taking care of our customers before our competitors could. You know, another example which has built me sort of long-lasting success is when I, how do I explain it? When I cold called the CIO of Deloitte. That's another story in itself. Probably don't have time for it today. But that opened up such a great relationship for me with the head of cloud at that organisation. We met, we had lunch, built a relationship, focused on that relationship. 2 months after that, we got our first PO from Deloitte. A month after that, Jamie, I need help with this situation. Sorry, Dom, that's not what we do. I don't really want to do that for you. To this day, because I said no, and because I put him in contact with people that would do that job a lot better, he said that built the biggest trust in me, and he wanted to work with me a lot more. And to this day, he's a close friend of mine now. We do a lot outside of work. He's taken me to other customers with him. I've maximised my deal sizes through him. I knew what competitors were quoting, and that's the power of relationships. And I really consider him a close friend. The other week, did a Tough Mudder with him and his mates, right? And there's a good, I know, I'm weird, right? But there's a big saying in Sicilian which I absolutely love, right? If they're not your friends, they're not your customer. You know, and we really live by that. So how do you sort of form these relationships, right? For me, it's just being a genuine human being. Yeah, all of you in this room have friends. Yeah, you have friends for being yourself. Yeah, in sales, I feel it's exactly the same. Right, and you connect with people on that human level. I feel it's so important you focus on the relationship, and the sale will take care of itself. Yeah, you focus on the meaning of the relationship. You build a rapport. You build the trust. You do, you know, what you normally do with your friends, right? You know, and the best salespeople, I believe, the ones that focus most on relationships, and they have the most relationships. Yeah, everyone in this room, your biggest customer is probably the person you like the most, and they like you the most, right? And it's so important that we think about that in sales, I feel. You know, and you'll get referrals from them because they'll feel good about you, and they'll want to put their name alongside you to help a lot of their network succeed. So, you know, another example right around this. Everyone's probably cold called, yeah? You've probably also been cold called while you're not doing anything. If that number pops up and you don't know the number, you're probably going to go, not today, yeah? If 2 seconds later you get cold called, Jamie Riddle's calling you, you're probably going to answer it, yeah? And why is that, right? It's because you've got a relationship with them, because they know who's calling them, you know? So, you know, for me, it's be on first name basis, have your name in their phone, yeah, and ultimately have a relationship with them. I feel, you know, how do you get this? I feel you ask a lot of questions. You get to know the people behind the title. Yeah, you really understand what they're trying to achieve. You invest in their journey, and you sort of be one of that. That will build trust for you. But ultimately, I like to understand the person behind the title. You know, I like to know where they're from, what they like to do, what their hobbies are, what their kids are, their family, everything. And I write all this down. You know, why do I do that? It's because you know all of this information about your friends, right? Yeah, so you should know that about your customers, I feel. And I promise you that the next session, the next meeting you have with that customer, it will be 10 times more powerful. You'll be able to connect with them on such a better level. Yeah, you'll be able to laugh at them because Spurs have probably just lost at the weekend, as usual, or something like that, right? Yeah, but, you know, to me, in internal relationships, right, in business, I feel exactly the same. Yeah, it's regardless of the title, you know, regardless of who that individual is, speak to everyone, invest in their journey. That's going to help promote you. Yeah, by people liking you and trusting you and thinking, yeah, Jamie's a good guy. I like him. I'll trust him with this. They're going to really buy into that, and that's so important. I feel, you know, to be successful from both a career standpoint, but personal as well. You know, and yes, you know, I got my growth within Sicilian through my sales success. But if I didn't have relationships with the right people, they wouldn't have trusted me, you know, with starting a brand new business unit at the age of 25, right? And I really, really do believe in that. So calls to action for me from today, anything to take away, right? As you continue your journey in sales or life, you know, remember that every client interaction is a chance to build a great new relationship. Yeah, every internal collaboration is a chance to strengthen your team, strengthen your credibility, and progress your career. Yeah, be at one with relationships. You know, embrace the power of relationships, and you'll find that success in sales, you know, is not transacting deals. It's building a long-lasting success through those relationships. What those relationships can bring you. So, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Very good. Up next, we have Kane Andrews, CEO and founder of Rockstar Property Partners, who's going to be talking to us about how to acquire £25 million worth of property. Might just be enough to retire on. Having started out in performing arts as a drummer, Kane's successful business career spans 13 years across multiple industries, and he has done it all without ever working for someone else. Lovely. Also known as Mr. Rockstar, Kane has bought 25 million of property all by the age of 34 and built his portfolio from the ground up, having bought his first house at 22. So anything he doesn't know about property investment probably isn't worth knowing. Thank you very much, Kane.
Thank you. I think you've just covered it all. I think we're all done here. But yeah, nice to meet everybody here. My name is Kane Andrews. As you said, they're the CEO and founder of Rockstar Property. So my sort of whole point of today is really to give you guys a bit more of an insight into property investment. But before I get started, can I just have a show of hands of anyone that has ever bought a property in the room? Wonderful. Has anyone ever bought more than one property? Has anyone bought more than 5 properties? Okay, great. All right, so we're in a good crowd here. I just also want to kind of mention a bit about my story and how I kind of started, although a lot of it was very well described, so thank you for that. So I saved £9,000 from a tour that I did as a performer, and I was 22 years old. I refused to turn 23 until I invested that money into a property. So 4 months before my 23rd birthday, I took the £9,000, and no, I didn't buy in London with £9,000. Wouldn't even cover the legal fees. But I actually kind of ended up in a property in Nottingham, and it was a 2 up, 2 down. I rented it out, and I got a 13.5% yield at the time, which I was quite happy with. But the second property was probably the most prevalent. And there was one conversation in particular in an area in which, trying to find the gentleman from Farnham, there he is, that I bought this property. It was worth 240 grand. I bought it 190, just about scraped the deposit together. And I know I got it at a good price. So I asked the estate agent to come round and say, give me a valuation before I started doing the refurbishment. And he said, Kane, this is probably the only 2-bedroom house on this estate. You could turn this into a 3-bed. He said, if you put a partition wall down here and a window in this box room, that's a bedroom. Oh, and if you partition downstairs from the kitchen to the lounge, turn the lounge into another bedroom, you've got yourself a 4-bed. Mind blown. He said, oh, and by the way, there's a university in Farnham, the UCA. Why don't you go and rent some rooms to them for £550 a month rather than getting the £800 that the next door neighbour was getting for the same house to a family that he rented to. It was 3 times the amount of rent. So I did that. And that one conversation of turning a property into a HMO, has anyone heard of a house of multiple occupancy, started what has taken me to today, and I can actually tell you, this is my fault, that 25 million surpassed 30 million as of yesterday, 72 HMOs. From that one conversation of a partition and a window. So 30 mil, never had a job. I would be a terrible employee. I probably look exhausted because I'm a 3 a.m. guy and I'm still working like I'm 21 and I'm 35. So, you know, my kind of whole point to you today is to kind of give you more the possibilities about property. So that's a bit about my story, but did you know that you can invest in property from 5 grand? Is anyone aware of that? Yeah? Well, you can with me because of the way in which I structure the type of deals. Without being so crude, put your hands up if you've got 5 grand or more available in your bank right now. Right. So, you know, we invest in property in very creative ways. We invest using investors' money, and if you've got 50 grand or under, we give a fixed return. And I really kind of back up what's been said today, just in regards to the excess funds. I mean, everybody's talk about having the additional funds in the account. What do you do? And as the property guy, and thank you, Mr. Rockstar, you're calling me, the staff that call me that, not myself. You know, I want you to be aware that there are opportunities for you to invest from as little as 5 grand into property, not only to earn the money, and this is what I've learned a lot about investors over the years, and we've raised about £5 million over the last 3 years. What I've learned is investors don't just want a return when it comes to diversifying into property. They want to learn. They want to earn and learn, and that's what a lot of people do, and that's certainly what we offer. So that's a bit about me. Checking on the time. I think we're hopefully okay. Hopefully, just from this very short speech, you've learned the possibilities if you kind of take one conversation, one small seed, and run for nearly 14 years, which is what it will be in April, you can really create something quite lasting, which is certainly what my intention has been. And the second thing I want you to take from this is that you can invest in property from 5 grand. You just need to meet the right person at the right time, maybe this evening. Let's see. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to say, you know, just to give a bit of insight, I personally, I've got 3 children, they're all in private school, and I opted to invest all my money in sales confidence. So just to say, like, when I'm all in on this, I'm all in. But when I met Kane last year and I appreciated the opportunity at the levels that you can start investing in property, my mind's just been totally expanded, because I thought I would have to wait for a liquidity event, i.e. an exit, and I don't want to exit sales confidence, at least in the next 20 years. So the possibility is genuine. And also, you know, the people that I bring up here, I'm very selective, very. Like, people reach out to me every single day. James, can I speak at your event? Can I do this with you? Can I partner with you? Honestly, I'm turning people away all the time. But, you know, these people I trust, and if it fucks up, you can come and batter me. So let's invite the speakers up for some Q&A. All right, so get your questions ready. Jane said, be curious, you know, have questions ready. Everyone really should have their hands up. Just a quick one based on Will's talk. I'm just interested. Do you have a retirement age? If so, what is it?
Me?
Yes, I'm asking the audience, the speakers. Do you have an age that you think you'll retire at?
So my retirement age is between 55 and 60. The amount I have to save to retire at 55 a year versus to retire at 60 is big. So that's why I have a little bit of a range.
Cool. Kane?
My retirement age is either 45 or never, and it changes every day.
Jeremy?
Mine's 50 to 55, as Will knows, so all pressure's on him. But yeah, what he says is true. The numbers might not mean anything there, but highly regards you you speaking to Will, definitely.
You got no chance, man. You don't do any work.
What's yours?
50 to 55. But like you, I just can't see myself stopping. When you run a business, I will eventually. Ask me at 55, I'm done. I've done it, yeah.
It's a good question. We need to sit down, I think it's happening, but I think mine's probably 60. I don't see myself slowing down. Okay, I found it really interesting. Again, we've talked about building wealth, creating income, maximising your income. But Jane, made a nice point about giving back. And sharing, and just if anyone's got an example, maybe where you've given back something or shared, I'd love to hear that if there is any. Have you got one, Jane? As you, go on.
You got it?
I was going to say I've got one, but you go.
You can go. No.
Okay. So it was, the first one that just popped into my head, my boyfriend will kill me, is my boyfriend really wanted this pair of shoes, but he's not one to spend loads of money on shoes. So he was looking for loads of different alternatives and was always just really disheartened because they were just never as good. So, and they were quite an expensive pair of shoes. So I bought them for him because I was like, I can do that, and just that. I love shoes as well, but actually the gift of giving, it just made me so happy. And so, yeah, just like that. But I think equally, there's probably much more. I have friends who work in sales who have done much more lovely things, help their parents pay off their mortgage or buy a home, or help out a sibling or things like that. Mine's also just being able to treat friends. So sometimes at dinner, being this is on me, or things, just little things like that. Nothing too major. I'm not that philanthropic yet.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't buy my wife shoes, but yeah. So last year I slept out in the street for one night. We partner with the Wickham Homeless Connection, and we donate quite a lot of money to homelessness. And I think, look, spending money and giving to charity is fine. It serves a purpose. But I actually really wanted to experience it. And I did. I slept in the street. I mean, I didn't sleep, but I went through the evening and I could not fall asleep. We documented it and it went out and everything. So, yeah, that's my way of giving back, not just through financial means, but also time. And I think time is usually more valuable than money.
Great.
Oh, just on that point, I don't know if any of your companies that you work for give you time to do volunteering. If they do, great. I would really recommend it. That's one of the reasons, talking about that value-led bit, one of the reasons why I joined Salesforce is because they really, really encourage volunteering. So I would push for that if you can.
Yeah, mine is actually with one of my customers as well. He started a charity called Camp Can Do. Excuse me. So it's for disabled children, right? Where they camp out for the week. With them. So like Jane said, we get 2 days a year charity at Sicilian. We can extend that. So last year we got my whole team to sort of help out at that. Builds relationships, but it gives back at the same time, right? So that's what I try to do.
Feel obliged here now. Can't not, can I? Yeah, I've done the give time back thing. That's good. What did I do? Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. Yeah, they can. Yeah, you get your tax relief on them. Oh, come on, it's a charity giving. This is not about the tax relief. But yeah, actually, with St James's Place, it's a point worth mentioning, actually. So St James's Place have a charitable foundation. They're incredibly proud of it, and so they should be. It's raised over 100 million since inception. So any contribution by the partner is also matched by SJP. So we all contribute monthly. It's called the Covenant. Everybody that signed up does it. So our whole team does. In terms of giving back, it's a small thing, but a good friend of mine was really stressed about a small debt, credit card. We all know credit cards, right? Didn't manage it very well, was paying 30, 40% or whatever. It was $1,000. I was like, just pay it off, and this is the point. To the relief on their face was worth it. That was this year. It was actually a few weeks ago, right? So in terms of just a small giving back, to be able to do that, because, as a company owner, you'll know, for my first 2 years, we didn't make a real profit. So to be able to do that, to be in a position to, of a very good friend, pay off a debt of as small as £1,000, but just to make sure they didn't have that pressure every month was It was vitalising.
Nice touch. Oh, that's cool. Thanks for sharing it. Look, for me, I give back to my school. I'm very proud of the school I went to, and I'm sponsored the school's rugby tour. And actually, just I would say out there, you know, dislike or liked your school, they would love to have you back. And even if you did a small talk, wherever you think you are in your career, honestly, you'll be amazed at the reaction you get. And you'll even find that there's maybe even some teachers that are still there, some that you may dislike still as well. But I'd recommend that. All right, let's open it up for questions from the crowd. Who's got the first question? Elaine.
Okay, my question is, should I put £20,000 in my pension or £20,000 into property?
That's a great question.
Boxing gloves on.
I would.
Property. Sorry, I jumped in there.
Do I go for the jugular cane? I'm gonna be a liberal here. Just do something, Elaine. Don't do nothing.
Good answer.
Inflation's 4%.
Good answer.
But
Give us the goss.
Elaine, what are you doing? It depends on what your motivations are. And that's, again, I'm not dodging the question here, right? I have a genuine belief in diversification, which is why I was interested to hear from Kane, right? Because and I genuinely mean this, salespeople come to me all the time and they go, I want to get into property. And I go, why? And they go, passive income. And I go, right, what's your plan? I don't know, it just sounds good to have income and not work for it. Okay, so they possibly need some more guidance around that. One of the bigger challenges we see is tax implications. So potentially in your situation, Lane, but more broadly speaking, if salespeople want to reduce the amount they lose in tax, there is nothing better than a pension. That's just objective. It's not me versus Kane. It's a case of what are your motivations? And I think that's being a good salesperson, is understanding what the real motivation is behind the question. Is it, do you have an interest in property? Is that something you want to do? Is it something you see success in? Or is actually a motivation is reducing tax? Because they're very clear answers. Hopefully that's all right.
Yeah, I will take my gloves off now, but also say that is a good answer, because when I deal with investors, we talk about the end first, and we work backwards from there. And I'm first to say, if that doesn't align with your end result or end goal, I say don't invest in property. So I think that we start at the end, and that's the first thing that should be spoken about, yeah. And only you can answer that. We can't answer that for you.
Good question. Who's got the next question?
Hey there, Will from DocuSign. It's a question for you, Will, but then I'm sure we can expand it out to the panel. I'm sure you'll have a comment on this as well. So if you've maxed out your tax-free ISA allowance, you've maxed out your tax-free pension allowance in a SIP, say, and you want to get the greatest return on the money you've got left available, what would be your initial knee-jerk reaction on what might be a good option there?
So don't restrict yourself to... Have you met Kane? He's got a great, from as little as £5,000. Don't restrict yourself to just pensions and ISAs is the first takeaway, right? Because if you are in a fortunate position, you've done, like I just said, the 60K, the 20K, potentially partner spouse's allowance. Like if you're in the fortunate position that you can fund your pension, the last 3 tax years and 2 ISAs, we're talking a better part of 150K there. Congratulations. From there are other tax wrappers available, right? And we can go down rabbit holes of which one. There's something called a unit trust or a general investment account that's taxed slightly differently. You can invest in the same assets, it's just a different tax wrapper. But again, if you're at that point in your career, and I've got clients that do this, they come to me and they go, I'm doing my pension, doing my ISAs. I'm like, go and do something else. It doesn't have to be all invested in equity markets, right? There's value in doing so, and there's tax efficiencies in doing so. But if you're in that fortunate position, which lots of SaaS people are because of the earnings potential, then there are lots of options. It's a rubbish answer, but that's the answer.
All right, next question. Just got a question here.
Hi, I'm Maisie from Navan. I had a question for Jane. I wanted to kind of ask about the balance, as there's a lot of women in the room today, and nice to see more women in sales. And you mentioned you had a partner as well, and a lot of things going on being at Salesforce for a while. Wanting to understand how you kind of manage the work-life balance with what you're doing and being so successful still as you are now.
Good question. So I think picking the right partner is very, very important, especially if you are a difficult, confident woman. Not all guys are overly comfortable with their partner potentially, this is not just, I'm speaking generally here, their partner potentially making more money than them or focusing on their career. I know it's 2024, but still. So I would say picking a really good partner and explaining kind of what you're doing is really important. But then equally, we all get so into our deals, and nothing else is important at that time. I'm a horrible person to live with when I'm trying to close a deal. So I think it's about explaining that and explaining what you're working on, why is it important, and kind of like bringing them along for the journey and getting them kind of involved and understanding kind of what it means to you. Because the problem with our careers and our jobs is there's like high highs and like super low lows, and you're not constantly busy all the time. You have times where you are needing to take phone calls at 10 o'clock at night, but then equally you have other days where you can go to the gym at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a bit of a weird job role to understand. So again, I think it's just like open communication, and I think setting boundaries as well around your work. And I think I've had a lot of times where it's like, well, you live in London and you don't have kids, so you can go and do that thing after work. And it's like, well, do I have to do that? Why is that on me every time? And I think sometimes we're innate people pleasers, and you want to take all the opportunities, and you should do, but it's about finding the right balance. And also just like finding an amazing group of men and women in your organization to kind of be your people, I would say. Hopefully that answers the question.
Great question. Who's got the next question at the back? Yep.
Hiya, Chris from Opta. This is for Will, I guess, but with 3 weeks left of the until we need to submit the self-assessment, any advice on what to do from a tax perspective, or have we missed the boat and it's just about planning?
Yeah, good question. You're submitting a self-assessment for the 22-23 tax year, which ended on the 6th of April last year. So we get it all the time. Clients come to us like, the deadline's coming up, I want to do a pension contribution to offset my tax. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's in the current tax year, right? So a good reminder for anyone in the room who hasn't done a self-assessment, by the 31st, you will be fined. I think it's like 100 quid. But still, just do it. Make sure it's done correctly. Speak to an accountant. But it's a really good point to flag, because we actually get that inquiry quite a lot. You have to do your tax planning by April the 5th. That is the final day of the tax year. Pensions, ISAs, before then, please.
So just to change it up until April, what should we do?
April the 5th?
Yeah, look at cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. Who's got the next question? Or one more question? Oh, go on.
I'm actually going to dive a little bit more into that pension question. If for those 3 years that you were talking about that we can go back to, can you just like specify a little bit more what that means?
Yeah, of course. So that's a tax solution called carry forward. So again, in the interest of time, I'll do this in 30 seconds. So let's say you're an IC leader and you've just earned 300, 400, 500, right? And you've got 100 grand in your current account and you're going, well, I don't need amazing. Obviously, of course, celebrate it. Don't rush to speak to a financial advisor. Enjoy the moment. And you're going, well, what can I do with this? I've just seen my P60, and I think on 500 it's 225k in tax and national insurance. So I'm sure one of the motivations would be to try and get some of that back. Pensions carry forward is the ability to, in the prior 3 years, this is as far as you can go back, so for this year it's 2021, 21-22 and 22-23 that we just referred to, use any unused pension allowance. So let's assume you've done 10, 10 and 10. In basic rules, 40, 40, 40 are the allowances. You've got 90 remaining, 3 times 30. In order to fund that, you would pay 72. You pay 72, you get 18 back from the government. That's the 20% relief. So you make 18k straight away, tax-free guaranteed. When you do your self-assessment by the 31st of January, you'll be able to claim a further 25%, which is 22.5. Yes. So there's 40 grand in tax that you can make.
Okay, last question.
One question for everybody on the panel. What is one positive word and one negative word to describe your success?
Hey. One positive word, one negative word to describe your success in sales.
We'll go down the
Nah,
road.
go on, you go.
Okay, I'll go first. Oh, are you turned it off?
Sorry.
my voice ever needs to be made louder. So I think my positive word is freedom. And my negative word is selfishness.
Very, very honest. Travel is probably my positive word. I've got absolutely no restrictions on that, and I do go out of my way to travel. I've got a load of negative ones. Fatigue. It's probably, yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. One word.
My positive probably team. I love my team. Feel like I've built a good team, and they're going to follow me, and we're going to have success together. My negative is probably the word yes. I say yes to too much stuff. Right, it affects my time to actually do my work. So then it affects my work-life balance and so on. So that's really my negative word.
I would say a bit esoteric, like opportunity, like the fact that we found an industry which is so underserved in terms of financial education, guidance and advice. Like James said, tell me if there is no other.
One word.
Sorry, I got carried away. Opportunity, thanks mate. Opportunity and listening. I'd say stress, yeah.
All right, I'm going to do my word is fun, but the other one is pain. Like, it is painful being a founder. But can we have a massive round of applause for our speakers, please? Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. And also, just a thanks to the team, the videographers, and everybody that's helped put on tonight. So a round of applause, please. If I can see you guys. All right, just 2 more minutes before we get back on the drink, because we're running to time. Okay, cool. So this is just a kind of an understanding of the opportunity for you in terms of accessing sales confidence and our membership and getting access to these people on a regular basis. The purpose of you being put in these rooms, or you opting to come into these rooms, is that you connect with other people that can take you to the next level. So, some of you may have heard levels of earning that you've never considered before. Some of you might have met someone here that you can help out. It's not just about what you can take, it's how you can give back to the next level of person that wants to be like you. So this is the opportunity to kind of give back, and that's what we're creating as part of our membership. So right now, we really, honestly, I know, someone said to me the other day, "Oh, you're just full of it, mate." And I was like, this was like a troll. It's like, you're just full of it. And I said, look, honestly, I didn't create sales confidence because I'm just full of beans all the time. I know I can come across like that, but it's actually because I've lacked it. I've just been rotten low, depressed, and not had it, and had to figure out a system to regain that confidence again. So what I do believe I have is the system and the plans that you need to get to where you want to go. If I'm honest, I've been 100K, 150, 200K plus, and I've done that in my career. I've achieved some success with sales confidence. There's a lot more to achieve. Ultimately, I want to give back. I love seeing the sales confidence team, SDRs coming in at 25K, knowing that in a few years they're going to be earning 100K plus. To be honest, that is what gives me a buzz now. So just the point I want to make in terms of the sales confidence membership, which you would have had a conversation with one of our reps about or someone else, is we want to give you an accelerated pathway to where you want to go. And sometimes right now you're not clear on where you want to go. And that's why you're unsure about it. But everyone almost, when Kane asked the question about have you got 5K, there's cash in your bank that you could invest in yourself. So we want to create the opportunity to do that. So the Sales Confidence membership basically has 5 elements. 1, connecting with people and accessing mentors that have been there, done that, been on the pathway that you would like to go on. Secondly, professional coaching. How many in this room have paid for a professional coach before to help them in their career? Okay, it's great. So a few of you. I guarantee you those that have done that have unlocked some potential because they're getting one-to-one time with someone that's motivated to help them to get to the next level. So we introduce you to professional coaching. Thirdly, it's about the peer groups. It's the circles of people that you put yourself in. If you put yourself and surround yourself with people on the next level, you will start moving in those next levels. One of the things I find really sad is that we're kind of attached and locked into the friends that we had at school and uni, and you feel like obliged to hang out with them all the time. And they're not necessarily going anywhere. And it doesn't mean you can't love them and you can't be their friend, but actually you need to break through that. And so we put you in peer group circles to help you level up to the next level. The fourth thing is weekly masterclasses and content from world-class experts. So Kane's going to be delivering a talk on investment. I can guarantee you the people in the membership at some point are going to be in property in the next few years, and that is going to give them a competitive advantage in their earnings. Like, there is opportunities around you, and then we have our monthly dinners and open events like this. So, like, honestly, I don't need this really now, but I love doing it. I genuinely am massively passionate about seeing people get to that next level. Now, many of you might be, do you know what, I don't need the next level. And that level of contentment, I don't think I'm ever going to find, so kudos to you. But if you're in this room, I'm guessing there's other levels you want to get to. Okay? Otherwise, you wouldn't have given up your night watching Netflix or whatever you do usually on a Wednesday night. So you're here for a reason. I believe part of that is to up-level. If you want to up-level, come and get on board the Sales Confidence membership. If you don't, have a drink on us and have a fantastic evening. Thanks for being part of tonight and good luck for 2024. Thank you.